own set of rules and regulations, and that the system also needs to be EPA approved. Alright, so now for a few safety tips. You need to be aware that grey water can contain pathogens and disease-causing organisms, but if you stick to a few simple rules, then using it on the garden is quite safe. Now, the first of those rules is to make sure you don't store that water for more than 24 hours. So try and use it straight away, because apart from the smell, bacteria can actually multiply in grey water quite rapidly. Now, the second tip is that if anyone in the household's got the flu or measles or a stomach bug, then make sure you stop using grey water for that period of time, because it can actually increase the chance of the germ spreading to others. So keep your grey water safely away from pets, children and people, and use it where the plant needs it most, directly at the root zone. Now, that means that the best irrigation systems are those that apply water, again, directly to the root zone. So that's things like your drip irrigation systems, which can easily be covered by mulch. Don't hose or spray grey water around the garden, because you're just spreading those chemicals and bacteria and can also burn your plants. So make sure you rotate which areas of the garden you're watering and don't overdo it, because you don't want patches of grey water lying around. Also, make sure the grey water doesn't run off into stormwater drains or into neighbouring properties, and make sure you wash your hands after using it. And just be aware that your neighbours have the right to lodge a complaint with your local council if your grey water does spill onto their property. So to be safe, allow a buffer zone between your irrigation system and the edge of your property. Avoid using it on the herb or vegetable garden, especially if the crop is to be eaten raw. Cooking helps protect against any harmful bacteria that may end up on the surface of the plants. Grey water is wastewater, but you can dramatically increase the quality of that water by doing a little bit of careful planning. For example, thinking about the type of detergent that you're using in your washing machine. Now, look for one that's garden safe. In other words, it's low in phosphorus and it's low in salt. That way the water will be safe to use on your shrub beds and borders. Switch off your grey water system if you're bleaching or washing dirty nappies, and distribute the water over a large an area as possible to dilute salts and nutrients across the whole garden. Okay, let's take a look at this simple checklist to make sure you're doing everything right when it comes to grey water. Are you using grey water straight away? Are you using garden safe detergents? Is grey water pooling or running off the property? Are your plants still looking healthy? And is your soil changing in any way?
So that's what's going on in Melbourne. So let's talk a little bit about rainwater harvesting. As this diagram shows, your roof is your collection system, your downspout is your transportation system, and your storage facility can be any assortment of combination of barrels or tanks that you have at your use. You see these barrels are set up on blocks, so you can get a little bit of gravity feed out to the garden, or put a bucket underneath the spout. And all these are fed and linked across the bottom, so as one fills, well, this one, all these are going to fill simultaneously. Sometimes they spill over and do this. You can play with your plumbing however you choose. Again, this water should only be used for gardening and not potable use. Places, I guess, that are extremely dry and have no other water supply will put a treatment system together, but good luck getting a permit for that. So the general rule is that rainwater harvesting is to be used outside for irrigation. If you didn't have any other water, I imagine you'd figure out a way to do it safely. And the runoff should be screened. The first flush ought to be diverted because it's going to have all assortment of detritus that just falls out of the sky from birds or other natural elements. You don't want that necessarily to go into your tank, because this water, since you're harvesting rainwater, your plants don't need as much water when it's raining, obviously. So you're trying to store this, so you want that water to be as clean as possible. So you want to, again, do a first flush from your collection system and don't put that in your tank, and then divert the water to the tank. And there's devices where that can be done automatically, so you don't have to be right there to make that diversion happen. As far as calculating the amount of water that you want, you can do this, forwards or backwards. You can guesstimate the number of inches of rain that you want to collect at once, and then look at your rooftop and measure it, and then come up with how many gallons of water you can expect to come off the roof. Or if you've got a set number volume of a tank that you already have, say you've got 6 or 8 barrels, and it adds up to 300 or 400 gallons, you might want to work this calculation backwards to figure out the collection area you need. But the general rule, there's also a website that's got a calculator if you don't like math, and I hope all of you can at least do that much math. But if you can't, there's a calculator here that you can plug the number in on the website, and it'll give you these numbers for you. But generally, this comes out as a general rule you can keep in your head. 1,000 feet of rooftop will give you 600 gallons of water for an inch of rain. So that's not too hard to remember. So you can go off and see what measure the area that a particular downspout is collecting. And so again, they can be small barrels like this, or they can be big barrels like that to collect a lot more water. And this is an example of kind of a high-tech version of a diverter valve that will screen the water coming off the roof, and it's got a vibrator built into it so that it shakes those leaves and they fall out the front. And then there's kind of a float valve type of device here that shuts off that valve and diverts the water into your tank. That's a little high-tech. I like this one better. It's just really, really, really simple. They used a clear plastic tube here so you can see this in action, and they dyed the water green so you can see that it was what the water looks like. But basically, the first flush water goes into this tube, and then this little ball sits on top of the water and floats up. And when it gets to the top, it creates an air gap and then diverts the water into your tank. And so that's real low tech and real simple and probably not very expensive. So all you really need is those plumbing fixtures and some standard tube. I don't know whether you need clear water. And of course you need a way to drain that water from the first flush diverter pipe. And you can have a big bung that you unscrew, or if you just want to drain the water off, you can put like that's just a standard hose bib on that just to drain the water down, and then every so often open up the big bung and take out the solids. So lots and lots of links. So when you go to YouTube and watch any one of these links, you'll see dozens and dozens of them. And the hardest part about preparing this lecture was just selecting what videos to share with you. So there's about a half a dozen right there. I've got some of them already downloaded. We'll look at in a second here. And then recently there was this article in the San Francisco Examiner. San Francisco is unfortunately seems to be way, way ahead of Santa Clara County lately. We used to be on the cutting edge back when we were dumping chemicals from leaking underground tanks into our groundwater basin. We were right on top of stuff to protect the environment. And then things started to slide, and we're not nearly as vigilant as we were. San Francisco is really a model, and I'm going to show you a video in a second here that was produced by the San Francisco PUC. But let's start with this. This one's fun. It's even got some volume.
What could be better than a barrel full of monkeys? How about a barrel of money? Welcome to Smell Like Dirt. Today we're going to learn how you can save money, save water, and help save the environment. What could be better than that? You've probably heard about rain barrels, but you haven't bought one yet because you thought they were too expensive, too hard to install, or worst of all, a big round mosquito factory. But lucky for all of us, none of those things are true. Now you might be asking yourself, why bother, right? Well, water is one of our most precious resources. And as our population continues to grow, so does the demand being placed on our water supplies. And predictions are that the cost of water will increase as those supplies are drained, no pun intended. Well, rain barrels are an easy way to help reduce our water usage and take advantage of our free source of water, rain. They're easy to hook up to your downspout, and they'll catch the rain for use later in your garden when you need it. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Your water meter will never know. If you're wondering how much rain it takes to fill up your rain barrel, consider this. An inch of rain on an average size roof, say about 1,000 square feet, will yield over 600 gallons of water. So your rain barrel will fill up quickly. Not only do rain barrels help save water, they also help reduce storm runoff. Most people don't realize that rain washes fertilizers, chemicals, and other pollutants from our yards right into our creeks and lakes. Installation is easy. First, you want to decide where you're going to place your rain barrel. Most people find that in the backyard, closest to the garden, is the perfect spot. And because the rain barrel doesn't use a pump, you want to make sure that it's elevated, taking advantage of another free resource, gravity. Once you decide where you're going to put your rain barrel, just mark the spot on your downspout and start cutting. Some rain barrels come with couplings so that you can run the downspout right into the barrel. This particular model has a convenient drain in the lid. There's a screen under the drain that keeps out debris and those nasty mosquitoes. There's a standard spigot on the bottom to attach your garden hose to, or you could just use a bucket or your favorite watering can. High on the sides are overflow valves for the excess rainwater to drain off. You could attach a hose here and redirect that excess water right out into your garden, or if you really want to save a lot of water, you could hook up a second rain barrel. Once you're all done, sit back and wait for the rain. Rain barrels start at about $80 and come in different sizes. This one is about 60 gallons. Some cities offer discounts to their residents in order to encourage them to use them, so you may want to check because you might be able to get a deal. The next time you need to water your garden, grab your watering can or get your garden hose and hook it up to your rain barrel. And then pat yourself on the back. Not only are you doing something to save money, you're also helping save the environment. Thank you for joining us. My name is Carol Bowie Jackson, and here's hoping you smell like dirt.
All right. And this is a demonstration of that low-tech diverter. I put this one in here for Rachel because she wants to intercept the downspouts at Washington Square building.
In this demonstration, the fine particles are represented by a green dye. You can see how the dye is washed off the roof as soon as the water passes over it. These particles are washed straight into the flush pipe. By the time the flush pipe is full, most of the pollution should be washed off the roof, and the clean water is diverted out the side and into your water tank. Large leaves are stopped by the mesh screen and are gradually pushed off by the rain. Any leaves left over simply blow off when they're dry. The flush pipe slowly drains from an adjustable outlet at the bottom, so it's ready for next time.
I think you get the idea. Okay, well, and the Academy Award goes to the San Francisco Public Utilities Department.